Welcome to Recaply X, your movie recap in a flash. We bring the drama, the action, and the twists. In minutes, our movie begins. Ghost Rider begins, narrating that in every generation, there is a Ghost Rider leader who collects the devil's contracts. A few years ago, the Ghost Rider was sent to retrieve a contract containing 8,000 evil souls. This contract was extremely powerful, and the Ghost Rider refused to hand it over to the devil. He did something no Ghost Rider had ever done before. He defied the devil's orders, fled, and did not deliver the contract. Later, we moved to a circus show featuring Johnny and his father, Barton, performing motorcycle stunts through fire. Johnny was focused on impressing the girl he liked, Roxanne, but he hit a rock because he was distracted by her. Barton scolds him afterwards, saying, "If you end up in a wheelchair, she won't stay by your side. You always ruin the show every week." Later, Roxanne approaches Johnny, and they go out together. Roxanne tells him that her father plans to take her out of town to live with her mother. She adds, "My dad thinks you're not mature enough, so I don't know what to do." Johnny replies, "Let's take the motorcycle and leave together. No one will know where we went. I don't need my father. I only need his show." They agree to meet the next day at the same time. That night, Johnny finds a paper in the trash, revealing that his father has cancer. He begins to think about what to do. Not wanting to leave his father, he goes to fix his motorcycle, and a strange man enters the circus, causing the electricity to flicker. The man approaches Johnny, saying, "I watched your show today, and it was amazing. I liked your motorcycle skills. What do you think about riding a motorcycle on my behalf?" Johnny asks, "Do you have an offer?" The strange man replies, "I have the greatest offer on earth." Johnny becomes suspicious and says, "Thanks, but I'm not interested." He doesn't realize that the stranger is Mephisto, the devil. Mephisto says, "I know about your father's illness." Johnny asks, "How do you know?" Mephisto responds, "That's not important. What matters is, would you like me to heal your father? In return, we'll make a deal." Johnny agrees, asking, "What's the deal?" Mephisto says, "I'll take your soul, and by morning, your father's health will be restored." Johnny laughs, thinking Mephisto is crazy, but Mephisto is serious and presents a contract for Johnny to sign. Johnny accidentally cuts his finger, and his blood drips onto the contract. Mephisto declares, "That drop of blood is enough," and his eyes glow. The next morning, Johnny wakes up to find his father full of energy and in perfect health. His father tells him, "I just got my test results, and the doctor said I'm in excellent health." Johnny is shocked. Later, Barton prepares for the show, but Johnny tells him he plans to leave with Roxanne. Barton gets angry, saying, "You're just a kid, and you expect to run away together?" Johnny replies, "I want to take my chance with her, instead of wasting my life doing silly motorcycle stunts." Barton eventually agrees to let Johnny go, giving him the keys to the best motorcycle he has. Johnny takes the motorcycle and leaves, while Barton performs his show. Mephisto appears, and in front of everyone, Barton crashes his motorcycle and falls into the fire. Chaos erupts at the circus. Johnny rushes to see what happened and finds his father on the ground, dead. He notices Mephisto watching and disappearing before his eyes. Johnny confronts Mephisto, saying, "You killed my father." Mephisto replies, "No, I cured him of cancer, as stated in the contract, but I couldn't let him interfere between us." Johnny tries to attack Mephisto, but he vanishes. Mephisto reappears, telling Johnny, "I'll come back for you. Until then, I'll be watching you. Forget your friends, family, and loved ones, because you now belong to me." Mephisto then disappears. Johnny goes to Roxanne, but he leaves her and walks away, not upset. Years pass, and Johnny grows up to become a high-level motorcycle stunt performer. He performs dangerous stunts, jumping over trucks, but he remembers Mephisto and the contract, which distracts him. He crashes his motorcycle, but his team rushes to him, and he wakes up uninjured. They ask, "How are you not hurt?" Johnny only asks if his motorcycle is okay. Later, on TV, it's announced that Johnny is the best stunt performer in the world, but critics call his stunts suicidal. Johnny's next stunt involves jumping across a football field on his motorcycle. His assistant, Mac, is concerned, saying, "This stunt is extremely dangerous. "Aren't you afraid for your life?" Johnny replies, "I'm just lucky." Meanwhile, the weather turns dark, and flames appear as a mysterious figure arrives. This figure is a young demon named Blackheart. Blackheart tries to enter a bar, but the security guard refuses him entry. Blackheart touches the guard's chest, and within moments, the guard's face turns pale, and he dies. At Johnny's home, Mac discusses the upcoming dangerous stunt and asks Johnny why he's taking such risks. Johnny responds, "Do you believe that if someone makes a mistake, they deserve to pay for it their whole life?" Mac realizes Johnny feels guilty about his father's death, but he assures him it wasn't his fault. Back at the bar, Blackheart kills everyone inside. A woman tries to escape, but he catches her, saying, "I smelled your fear." He then kills her. Blackheart's demon brothers arrive, asking why he summoned them. He replies, "I'm here for the San Venganza contract. Legend says the contract was stolen and hidden in a nearby cemetery, so you will help me find him, and after we find him, we will be able to control this world." His father, Mephisto, is preparing and calling for him, and he comes out to meet him. Mephisto asks him, "What are you doing here?" He replies, "This era is mine, and I will control it because you've become grim." Mephisto responds, "Your era will come, but not now." Blackheart tells him, "We both know that on Earth, you are weaker than me." Mephisto says, "Yes, maybe I am weaker than you, but my Ghost Rider surpasses you in strength by far." Blackheart responds, "You've placed your power and the power of hell in a human, which is pathetic and useless. You should have given me that power and trusted me." Mephisto replies, "All this power is mine, and I am free to do with it as I wish." Blackheart says, "Send me your Ghost Rider, and I'll bury him, and then bury you afterward." Mephisto leaves him and walks away. Then we move to Johnny's show, called The Death Jump. All the tickets for the show are sold out. Mac tells him, "This is the last time. You don't have to do this show." But Johnny doesn't care and doesn't respond to him. They both head out, and reporters try to interview Johnny. Mac tells them, "Johnny won't answer you. He doesn't even answer me." But from a distance, someone says, "He won't answer me either." Everyone goes silent, and Johnny looks at her. It turns out to be Roxanne, his old love, now a journalist, conducting an interview with Johnny. This is the first time a journalist has ever interviewed Johnny. Johnny misses Roxanne a lot, and throughout the interview, he asks her personal questions unrelated to the topic, like, "I heard you got married." After the interview, Johnny wanted her to stay, but she tells him she has to leave. Johnny tells Mac, "This is the sign I told you about." The time for the show arrives, and Mac tells Johnny, "It's good you listened to me and removed the cars. If you fall, at least the gospel will protect you, and nothing will happen to you." But surprisingly, Johnny removed the cars and replaced them with helicopters. The announcer says, "No one has ever dared to try such a crazy stunt." And with the helicopter blades running during Johnny's jump, Mac gets angry and asks Johnny, "Why didn't you tell me?" Johnny says he chose the helicopters because it was his father's idea, and he always wanted to do it, thinking it would be fun. Johnny takes off and jumps over 6 helicopters skillfully, even though he's thinking about Roxanne at the time, but he manages to make the jump without falling. The crowd cheers and applauds Johnny. Johnny rides his motorcycle again and leaves the show entirely. He catches up with Roxanne as she's walking down the road. He wants to talk to her, but Roxanne avoids him, even though deep down, she wants to talk to him. Johnny accelerates, cuts her off on the road, and forces her to stop. Roxanne gets out and says, "You're crazy. Do you want to kill yourself?" Johnny replies, "I want to talk to you. I haven't seen you in a long time." She says, "I don't want to talk to you." He replies, "If you really didn't want to, you wouldn't have agreed to do the interview with me." She tells him, "You experienced a tragedy when you were young, losing your father, and then you ran away. I don't hold a grudge against you because that's something from the past, and I'm looking ahead." They agree to meet at a restaurant that night. Johnny then tells himself, "I deserve a second chance." Suddenly, he notices a tree shaking violently, emitting smoke. He hears someone calling him from outside, and hears the sound of his motorcycle. Meanwhile, Roxanne is at the restaurant, annoyed because Johnny is late. Johnny goes outside and finds his motorcycle running by itself, with no one on it. Mephisto appears. Johnny tells him, "Stay away from me." Mephisto says, "I've always been close to you. In every show you performed, I was there beside you, helping you. I really admired the fame you gained and was proud of you. I stayed by your side, investing in you for a specific day, and that day has come. I want you to look for someone named Blackheart and kill him." Johnny replies, "You look for him." Mephisto says, "It doesn't work that way. Don't forget you're bound to me by a contract." Johnny says, "I don't care and I won't do anything." Mephisto responds, "You don't have a choice." He strikes the ground with his staff, and Johnny's motorcycle starts moving uncontrollably at a crazy speed. Its speed generates fiery sparks on the ground, flipping any cars around it. A police officer tries to clock its speed with a radar, but the device burns when Johnny passes by. Johnny and his companions feel like they're reaching the cemetery, but they find the area has become residential. They ask someone about the cemetery that used to be there. The person replies that the cemetery was relocated but doesn't know where, saying the local authorities handled it. Afterward, Johnny is dropped off and finds his body emitting smoke. Not just smoke, but flames all over his body. His head and hands turn into a flaming skeleton. Blackheart appears, and Johnny tells him, "Go back to hell where you came from, or I'll kill you." Blackheart replies, "I don't think so." He attacks Johnny with an evil spirit that grabs Johnny and tries to hang him, but Johnny doesn't die, as he's now a skeleton. He tries to fight Blackheart, but the evil spirit grabs his leg, and a truck hits him. Blackheart thinks Johnny is dead and leaves, but this ghost won't die so easily. He reappears, attacks the truck driver, and uses his fiery chain to wrap around the driver, burning him until he's completely incinerated. Johnny gets on his motorcycle, which comes to him, and transforms it to match his fiery appearance. He rides off. Roxanne, frustrated from waiting, gets so annoyed that she wishes the waiter would sit with her. Meanwhile, Johnny sees a thief assaulting a woman to rob her. Johnny saves the woman and tells the thief, "You're guilty." He approaches the thief, who stabs Johnny with a knife in the back, but nothing happens. The knife melts. Johnny tells him, "Your soul is tainted with the blood of the innocent. Look into my eyes and feel their pain." He shows the thief all the crimes he committed, torturing him for each one until the thief is completely destroyed, his eyes burned out. Johnny leaves. As the sun rises, Johnny's motorcycle and body return to their normal state. This reveals that Johnny can only become Ghost Rider at night. Johnny arrives at his father's grave, exhausted and unable to move, fainting in front of a stranger. When he wakes up, he finds himself extremely thirsty and drinks water placed beside him. The stranger, named Carter Slade, was standing in front of a grave. Johnny thanks him for helping him and says, "I had a strange dream where my head was on fire." He asks, "Where's my motorcycle?" Carter laughs and says, "Your motorcycle is outside and has returned to its normal state. As for what happened to you last night, it wasn't a dream, it was real, and it will happen again." Johnny realizes that this man has information that could help him. Caretaker tells him he saw him yesterday and that he will need his help. Johnny responds, "The last time I let someone help me, it didn't end well." Caretaker explains that what happened to him yesterday was expected from the moment he signed the contract. Meanwhile, Roxanne investigates the events of the previous day at the location where Ghost Rider killed the truck driver. She remarks that several similar incidents have occurred in various places. Of course, the chaos caused by Blackheart is evident wherever he goes. Caretaker tells Johnny that Ghost Rider is the hunter who follows the devil's orders, tasked with retrieving anyone who tries to escape hell. He explains that during the day, Johnny will be normal, but at night, in the presence of evil, Ghost Rider will emerge. Johnny shares that he punished the thief he caught the previous night by making him see all the crimes he had committed in his life and tormenting him for them. Caretaker confirms this ability, calling it the Penance Stare, Ghost Rider's most powerful weapon. He then tells Johnny about the last Ghost Rider, from 150 years ago, who was in the town of San Venganza. A mysterious man had arrived in the town and offered its people a single contract, which led to chaos due to their greed. Blackheart and his siblings hid among the elements until the end of the world. Caretaker warns Johnny to stay in the area, as leaving would expose him to danger. Meanwhile, Roxanne reflects on the events of the previous day and the destruction caused by Ghost Rider. She interviews the woman Johnny saved from the thief, who describes Ghost Rider as a skeletal figure surrounded by flames. However, people laugh at her story, not believing her account. Johnny tries to talk to Roxanne, but she refuses to speak to him, upset that he didn't meet her the previous night or even send a message saying he wouldn't come. Johnny struggles to explain, unable to reveal his secret. Later, Roxanne apologizes for being upset and tells Johnny she's leaving town that night. She doesn't want their last conversation to be a fight. She notices that Johnny still keeps pictures of them from when they were younger. They talk, and she kisses him, but as night falls, Johnny urges her to leave, saying, "You need to go now." Roxanne is confused and questions Johnny's behavior, recalling how he risked his life to meet her, but now wants her to leave. She demands an explanation, and Johnny finally confesses that he sold his soul to the devil and transforms into a terrifying creature at night, in the presence of evil. Roxanne realizes Johnny is the one responsible for the destruction the previous night. Johnny explains that this is why he left her in the past, and why he must keep his distance to protect her. Roxanne struggles to believe him, thinking he's making excuses to push her away. She leaves, vowing not to return. The police arrest Johnny, finding evidence linking him to the crime scene, including traces of fire similar to his stunt performances. Despite his protests of innocence, the investigators don't believe him. While in custody, Johnny begins to sense his transformation into Ghost Rider as evil surrounds him. The criminals in the cell attack him, but Johnny transforms, fights them off, and kills them all, sparing only one prisoner whom he deems innocent. Breaking free, Johnny escapes on his motorcycle, which comes to him on its own. Ghost Rider confronts the man responsible for the chaos in the area, demanding answers about the location of the cemetery. The man refuses to cooperate, so Ghost Rider uses his powers to intimidate him. The police chase Ghost Rider, who escapes by riding across a river. Blackheart and his siblings hear the sound of Ghost Rider's motorcycle and prepare for his arrival. Blackheart sends his brother Abigor to confront him. Ghost Rider climbs a building on his motorcycle to face Abigor. Roxanne witnesses this scene while the police continue their pursuit. Ghost Rider uses his fiery chain to attack a police helicopter, warning them not to interfere. In the battle with Abigor, Ghost Rider struggles, as his opponent is a spirit without a physical body. However, Ghost Rider uses his chain to create a vortex, weakening and ultimately defeating Abigor. The police, along with Roxanne, witness the aftermath. When Ghost Rider sees Roxanne, the flames on his head turn blue, and he reaches out to her. The police shoot at him, but the bullets have no effect. Ghost Rider intimidates them with fire and escapes. The investigator tells Roxanne they suspect Johnny is connected to the events. As he disappeared from custody, he asks for her help. Meanwhile, Johnny meets with Caretaker, who tells him about Carter Slade, a former Ghost Rider who went to San Venganza to retrieve a powerful contract for Mephisto. Realizing the contract's danger, Slade decided to hide it. Caretaker advises Johnny to stay away from loved ones, as they could be used against him. Johnny immediately thinks of Roxanne, who had gone to look for him and found Mac there, who was also looking for him. At night, Caretaker finds Blackheart and his gang, who came to him and was surprised how they got in. Blackheart hit him, saying, "You think I'm weak and can't come here? I can go anywhere. I know the contract is here, so hand it over for your own good." Caretaker doesn't respond, and Blackheart beats him up. He learns that Ghost Rider was here, so he decides to go after him to get rid of him. He goes to his house and kills Mac, telling Roxanne, "I'll make him mourn for you." Johnny returns home to find Roxanne lying on the ground, and Blackheart attacks him. Johnny transforms into Ghost Rider, grabs him, and says, "Look into my eyes." Blackheart laughs and says, "That penance stare doesn't work on me because I have no soul." He grabs Johnny by the neck, extinguishing the fire in his chest. Blackheart tells him, "Don't think you're stronger than me. You're no longer working for my father. You're working for me now. Go to Caretaker. Bring me the contract and deliver it to me in Anglesey. Then maybe I'll let you and your friend live." Johnny goes to Caretaker, who was still digging to retrieve the contract, but Caretaker reveals that he had hidden it in the handle of his shovel. Trusting Johnny, he hands him the contract, saying, "I'll come with you to end this story together." He calls his horse, revealing that he is Carter Slade, and they both set off. When they arrive, they return to their human forms. Carter tells Johnny, "This is as far as I go. I had one last transformation left, and I used it to get you here." Blackheart tells his gang to delay Johnny because dawn is approaching. Johnny enters the town and hears the voices of the ghosts of people who died there. One of them pulls him into the water and tries to drown him, but Johnny transforms into Ghost Rider and easily defeats him. He then confronts Blackheart, who warns him, "If you transform, I'll kill Roxanne." Johnny shows him the contract, saying, "Let her go, and I'll give you the contract." Blackheart throws Roxanne aside. Before handing over the contract, Johnny transforms and attacks him, throwing fireballs at him. However, as the sun rises, Blackheart grabs him and throws him into the sunlight. Johnny regains his human form, and Roxanne tells him, "Let's go. He's taken what he wanted." But Johnny refuses to leave and decides to fight. He uses a powerful weapon to shoot at Blackheart, but it doesn't kill him. The spirits that were scattered come together again. Johnny, now in darkness, transforms and grabs Blackheart, saying, "Look into my eyes." This time, the spirits inside Blackheart are real, and Johnny's penance stare works. The spirits suffer from the crimes they committed, and they all die, killing Blackheart as well. Johnny's flames turn blue when he looks at Roxanne. Mephistopheles appears, congratulating Johnny, saying, "You completed your task as per the contract. Now it's time to free you from this curse and return you to your normal life." But Johnny refuses, saying, "I'll keep this power and use it against you to avenge my father's death." Mephistopheles strikes the ground with his staff, saying, "You'll pay for this decision," and disappears. Johnny walks away with Roxanne, telling her that things might have been different. He takes her to the place where they first met, bids her farewell, and leaves. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to get more new videos.